given everyone a couple minutes to log in, so we might just get started now and let the other people in as we go. So thank you so much everyone for joining me today for the Understanding Your Consumer Rating workshop. My name is Rebecca. I'm the Industry Programs Coordinator here at TICSA. So this is the first workshop in a series of 3 for those who are particularly looking for assistance with your Tourism Awards submission. Just based on some feedback from last year, a new component was introduced in terms of a consumer rating. So this is something that we're just going to talk to today. It'll take about 30 to 40 minutes of me talking, and then you'll get a chance to ask some questions in regards to the consumer rating component of the Tourism Awards at the end of the presentation. Just to begin, I'd also like to acknowledge that today I'm zooming in from the land of the Kaurna people. I'm back. I do apologize. I think you lost me. So I was just in the middle of acknowledgement of country. You missed it. It's just acknowledging that I'm zooming in today on the traditional lands of the Kaurna people, and that I pay my respects to their elders past, present and future. And also like to acknowledge that everyone else who's zooming in today, you're probably on Kaurna land or somewhere else in South Australia or even Australia. So just acknowledging the cultural and heritage beliefs of the lands that you're meeting on today. So just if you do have any questions today, I do ask that you use the chat functionality just on the right-hand side of your screen. And make sure that your mic is on mute, which I think everyone is at the moment. I will be addressing the questions that you pop into that chat functionality at the end of my time talking. So please feel free to type away and we'll get to that at the end as well. So what we'll be covering today in about 30 to 40 minutes is firstly just talking about online reviews and the importance of online reviews in today's industry in terms of decision making for consumers. And then from that, we're going to look at how you can actually increase your reviews online, which is a really important part of running a business these days. And then after that, we're going to be talking to the consumer rating component of the SA Tourism Awards. Again, this is a component introduced during last year's program. So really going to delve into how that impacts your submission this year. Based off of that, you do have access to ReviewPro, and this is where your consumer rating comes into play. So we're going to talk to this platform called ReviewPro. If you haven't heard about it before, we'll definitely delve into that as well. And then just some key takeaways, some key actions for you as a business moving forward, and particularly moving towards your submission for the Tourism Awards. So why are online reviews so important? If I could see all of you right now and ask you to put up your hand to question whether or not you look at reviews when you go to dinner on Friday night, or if you book some holidays in the next couple months. And I think most of us would put our hands up and say, yes, I look at online reviews. So they're such a huge part of the decision-making process now when it comes to travel. I, like many others, and according to many studies, about over 90% of travelers will in fact read online reviews these days before they make a decision on booking or traveling somewhere in particular. Actually only takes about 10 reviews before a customer makes a decision to purchase or to book an experience. So it really doesn't take a lot. So if they're looking at 10 reviews and they're all positive, then that can really directly affect your revenue as a business. But if you have some negative reviews up there in your top 10, that can negatively impact and potentially sway someone from not booking your experience or booking your B&B. So it's really important these days. In terms of the decision-making process, it's actually been researched that about 84% of people trust online reviews just as much as they trust a friend, which is huge. So word of mouth is obviously a really important way that people get information on their travels, but the fact that online reviews are up there with, having a friend recommend something to you is really quite significant. So as I mentioned, one of the first points we have is your revenue is directly impacted by consumers' online reviews. So essentially, like I mentioned, if someone was to look at your reviews, this really will sway their decision. And I'm sure like we've all done it as well. I know that if I'm going out for lunch tomorrow and I'm looking at a couple of restaurants and I see one with really good reviews recently in the last couple months, then I'm more likely to book them. I'm more likely to spend my money with them. So it really does impact your revenue directly. Another reason why reviews are really important these days as well is that it creates a really strong sense of reliability and credibility around your brand. So for instance, if you are to book a tour on the Eyre Peninsula, and there's a couple of options, you look at the two companies that you're thinking about booking, which one would you be more likely to book? Would it be the one with, say, 270 reviews or the one with 5? I know for a fact that I would probably go with the one that's got a lot more reviews, particularly if they are really positive. And I'm not the only one. Around 92% of consumers will hesitate to buy online if there are no online reviews on a particular product or business or experience. So you really need to be kind of engaging with your customers and making sure that people are leaving you reviews and continuously thinking about ways to increase the number of reviews that you have online. Now, it's another really great way to improve your competitive online position and visibility online. So the more active that you are with your reviews, making sure that you're getting more from your consumers, but also responding to them, then the more visible that you're going to become. Say, if someone Googles restaurants in McLaren Vale, if you've got more reviews and you're responding and engaging with them, then the algorithm will work in your favor. So making sure that your content is fresh, is recent, that's going to really lift you up when people search for businesses in your region or in terms of your business model. Now, another great reason why reviews are really important is also it gives you an opportunity. Obviously, we'd all love to get positive reviews all the time, but getting some negative or constructive reviews is a really great way for you as a business to analyze what guests or consumers are experiencing within your business and how you can actually improve on certain elements. And that will really allow you to understand what proactive measures you need to take to improve your business and improve the services that you're providing to people. So it is great to have positive feedback, but sometimes that negative feedback or constructive feedback can be really important for you as a business. Now, most importantly, having more online reviews really builds trust with your consumers, with your customers. And again, it will increase the chance that they will book with you. So it is really important to build that relationship with people online to ensure that you're making the most of your review platforms and generating that engagement with you, your business, and generating that revenue. Now, if we have a look, the amount of reviews actually does matter. So I've touched on it a bit already, but it's really important that you do have a high number of reviews. Obviously, for some smaller businesses, it takes a bit more time to get to this, but it is just important to keep this in your mind during your day-to-day operations, that you're trying to garner as many reviews as you can. So gaining a higher volume of guest ratings will improve, again, your competitive online position and your visibility. So again, those algorithms working in your favor. But most importantly, encouraging potential guests to spend their money with you because your business appears reliable and trustworthy in comparison to their competitors. So that's where your online reviews can really help you. It's really easy for guests or potential guests or customers to understand what you offer when there are higher volumes of reviews online and testimonials from people who have visited you or experienced something that you offer really recently. So make it easy for guests to choose you. And by doing that, you need to be thinking about getting guests to leave reviews for you to make it easy for potential ones in the future. Another really important aspect is getting people to talk about you online is one of the most important kind of seals of approval that you can get in this day and age. Word of mouth advertising is really important. And as I mentioned before, word of mouth is really important, but online reviews is almost right up there with talking to a friend and getting a recommendation on an experience or a place that they've stayed. Now, if you encourage more guests to invest time in recording their experience online on your review platforms, then this is really paramount to better understanding your business, what you offer, and what people are experiencing when they visit you. Again, it reveals a really excellent way to take proactive measures to ensure that you're continuously improving your business and your experience for people, to just keep making sure that you're satisfying what people are expecting when they come to use your services. So we've talked about the importance of reviews and that we know that a higher amount will be really beneficial for you, but how do you actually increase your online reviews? So let's talk to that for a bit. So firstly, we want to exceed expectations of your customers. So I'm sure you've all experienced it. If you have a really great experience on holiday or a really terrible one, it's always those ends of the spectrum that probably prompts you to leave a review. So the majority of positive guest reviews come when guests are pleasantly surprised by what they receive. So think about ways that you can exceed expectations and offer that little bit more than what you're actually promising. So like to keep in mind, under promise and over deliver, and that way something will pop in their mind that will make them think of something that will make them leave a review for you. So it's really thinking about those little ways that you can really improve the experience. The second point we have is get the right team in place. So if you hire people within your business, your staff have a really great impact on the ground dealing with customers every day. So if you have them in place and if you, throughout your onboarding process, get them to understand what you deliver, the high quality that you have, and that strong emphasis on recruiting the right people and encouraging them to really give the best that they've got. And then to furthermore, for them to understand the importance of reviews and to make sure that they're kind of getting those reviews online as well by encouraging visitors. That's a really important part of your team. Now, we also want to provide options for people. So I'm sure most of you have certain review platforms, whether it be TripAdvisor, Google, Booking.com, Expedia, you name it. You're probably set up on a few of those. So make sure that you're making it easy for your customers, whether it be, if they've got a Gmail account and they've got a Google account. So probably be easier for them to leave a review on Google. TripAdvisor, they may not have an account. So just think of your patterns in terms of where are people leaving your reviews the most and which one seems to be the easiest for people. It's also nice to make it easy in terms of QR codes on site and making sure that it's easily accessible for them as well. Now make sure that you're encouraging sharing online. So again, keeping your content fresh online to increase your visibility. Have a hashtag, use branded items or photo opportunities that customers will snap and upload to social media, but they can also upload it to their reviews on Google. And again, sharing that online holds that power of the word of mouth. A great example is Apex Hotels in the UK, where when you check into your room, you've got a little rubber ducky in your bathroom, and that's kind of been a really strong piece of their branding, where guests will take that rubber duck in the place that they're staying in your hotel, and they'll go around with that rubber duck, take photos, use a hashtag, put it online, and that's some marketing for you, and it's free. Now, that's kind of grown. So each hotel now has a rubber duck in every hotel, and the colors of the rubber ducks change per hotel. So now it's almost like a collectible where if people stay with the chain, they're actually collecting those ducks. So they've really found a way to engage with their customers and make them share things online in a really fun and interactive way. Now, I've mentioned it before, but responding to your reviews is just as important as garnering more reviews online as well. So if you do get negative feedback, it is an opportunity for you to showcase yourself in a really professional manner. And again, to look back within your business and think of ways to improve. So it's not always bad if you get negative reviews, but it really is important for you to actually respond to these reviews because people are putting in the effort to leave them for you. So it always looks nice if you're responding to them as well. In fact, 68% of visitors will make a booking with a business that responds to reviews over businesses that do not, and this is according to TripAdvisor stats. So if we have a look at my generation, for instance, millennials look at 53%. So what they have a look at is reviews and who's responding to them. They actually look at reviews and the detail within the reviews, but also the responses. So my generation really take into account the reviews and how the business responds and what manner they're responding to. And my apologies, I'm getting some feedback that you can't see my slides, only the title. Let me just stop sharing my screen for a bit. Okay, how's that for everyone? No? Can you perhaps share your screen? Apologies, technical difficulties. Okay, is that better? Thank you. Sorry, guys. We'll be sharing these slides afterwards, so bear with me. Okay, we are up to now this little target picture here. So know your audience. So I'm sure you're all aware of your target market and your audience. So do make sure that you understand what platforms they're using the most. There's obviously many different ways to approach them in terms of getting reviews online. So just make sure you understand that and how you can pull them across to leaving those reviews online. Proactive management. So the best way to ensure positive customer experience is by proactively engaging with your customers. So if you do have any negative customer reviews, face to face even, and this is a really great way for you to rectify yourself and make sure that you're managing your customer feedback on site and making sure that you can really make sure that you are providing an excellent experience for everyone on site. And that way, you can turn a negative experience into a really excellent one if you're proactive. So for instance, I can think of staying at a B&B and having some issues with, something like the toilet seat coming off and contacting the owner, and they'll come out to me straight away. So stuff like that, if that wasn't fixed, that would be a negative experience that might be in my mind by the end when I am asked to leave a review. But if it's something that's proactively managed, and it leaves me with a really positive experience, and by the end of the stay, I've forgotten about it and actually I'm really impressed that I was able to get help so quickly. Now, the last point in terms of increasing your online reviews is stimulating engagement. So make sure you create really memorable experiences. Add little special touches to your guest experience to spark conversation. And it gives someone or your customers something to talk about, which is really important, and it really gets them to leave a review for you. I can think of staying in a B&B in the Adelaide Hills and walking into the kitchen where there were some local apples there, but not only were there some apples, but there was also a recipe for an apple pie. And they'd left some flour and some sugar and some butter as well. So all the ingredients needed to make an apple pie. And that was just a really lovely little touch. I think nowadays you go to a B&B and there might be a bottle of wine, but to have that whole, experience of making a local apple pie was just a really lovely touch that I think if you can include ideas like that into your business offering, then that will really boost that experience and can really make me want to leave a review for your business. Cool. Next slide. Awesome. So if you have implemented all of that in the previous slide and you're still looking to collect more reviews, there's no harm in asking directly. So how you can do this, firstly, one of the easiest ways is if you're in a position to directly ask your customers for a review, then absolutely you can. Obviously, it's a lot easier somewhere like a hotel where there's a checkout desk and someone can simply ask, how was your stay? Do you mind leaving us a review? So that's obviously easier said than done in some situations, or perhaps if you're a tour operator and at the end of the tour you mentioned that you're on TripAdvisor and Google My Business. So you can certainly do it that way. Signage, if there's some kind of desk element within your business or your offering, then it's always nice to have some signs just to encourage guests to know that, yes, we do really value your feedback and it helps us as well. Make it easy. You can set up QR codes with the revival of QR codes these days. It's very easy to just print out a QR code and have them scan that as well. Follow-up emails, I'm sure many of you are probably already doing this as well. But if any follow-up emails are sent after a guest's stay or experience, then make sure at the end you give them the options to review you on your various review platforms. If you are receiving any unsolicited feedback, if you're just in a conversation with a customer and they mention how great of an experience you've given them, you can always tactfully just mention that you really appreciate their support and them for choosing you. And it would be great if they could take 2 to 5 minutes out of their day to write you a review, as it really assists you and your business. If you do have any comment cards or guest books, you can always follow up with a telephone call or an email and just ask, hey, I really loved this feedback. It was so valuable to me. Let's not leave it on paper. Is there any way that you can pop it online? That's also a great way to get that up on your review platforms too. And on social media channels, if you've got people following you, it's always great to do a bit of a boost and ask them if they can leave reviews for you as well. Okay, so most of you perhaps are probably here for the SA Tourism Awards component, so the consumer rating. So it's 20% of your submission. So this was introduced last year again, just to really incorporate a consumer element. Yes, you can write a really great submission, but we also want to see what consumers are saying about you. So this was introduced last year. 20% for most categories includes a consumer rating. So the next slide after this will be which categories actually involve this. Now, your consumer rating, if you didn't enter last year and not aware of this, your consumer rating is calculated based on a global review index, which is generated through ReviewPro. So essentially what a global review index is an average of all your reviews across all your platforms, whether you're on TripAdvisor, Expedia, Google. ReviewPro will pull all your reviews and create an average. And for the Tourism Awards, it'll be an average of all your reviews that you received between the qualifying period, which is the 1st of July 2021 to the 30th of June 2022. Now, when I say that your GRI is an average, it is actually generated every single day, and it's a bit more complex. It actually involves the concept of time in terms of any reviews that you're getting recently will really impact your GRI a lot more than a review that you received 6 months ago, because again, we're moving towards that consumer component of reviews, where if I'm looking to travel or experience what you're offering, I'm not looking at what Steve said about your business 5 years ago. I'm looking at those reviews that you received last week saying how excellent your product is. So your GRI essentially is very much impacted on more recent reviews rather than ones from a while ago. Now, if you have at least 25 reviews in the last year, this means you will generate a GRI. If you don't have 25 reviews, that becomes an issue because you won't be able to generate a GRI. You don't have enough content. So your GRI will sit at 0. So this is why we're encouraging you to get as many reviews as you can, increase the number of reviews that you have. You can just go into your platforms and see how many reviews you have in the last year, just to double check that you've got enough to generate a GRI. Okay, so the next slide we have, so if you have entered the Tourism Awards or you're considering, just have a look at this list here at all the categories that include a consumer rating component. Again, 20% of your submission is based on the consumer rating. However, a couple of categories, including the Visitor Information Services category and the Excellence in Food Tourism category, your consumer rating only equates to 5%. So it's a bit different for those two, but the rest of them it's 20%. But you will see that some of the categories, including events, are not listed here because they do not need to have the consumer rating component added to that. So just make sure that if you have entered or you're thinking of entering, make sure you can see if you're on that list there. So we'll pop over to the next slide. So we'll just have a look at ReviewPro. So as I mentioned, with your GRI, this is generated through ReviewPro. So what exactly is it? If you haven't heard of it, it's an online reputation management platform. Again, it aggregates all your online reviews into one really easy to use platform. If you're anything like me, I have at least 50 tabs open on my browser every day. So this website is a really great way to make one of the many tasks that you have as a business operator a bit easier. So if you're looking at your reviews, say once a week, you might have your TripAdvisor open, and then you've got your Google open, and then you've got your Expedia and your Booking.com, and the list goes on, and you're replying to each and every review on all those platforms. Well, ReviewPro tries to take that pain away by aggregating all of it in one platform for you. So it actually pulls through over 175 review platforms into ReviewPro. In saying this, originally ReviewPro was designed for hotels. So a lot of them are accommodation booking platforms where people can leave reviews. But for a lot of people in the tourism industry, I have found that most people are simply on Google My Business and TripAdvisor, and for some of your accommodation operators, you've got your Booking.com, etc. But for most of you, TripAdvisor and Google are the most prominent ones. What ReviewPro does is also creates a real-time, all-in-one dashboard where you can track, you can measure all your reviews, and you can also respond to all of your online guest reviews on that one website, which is so much easier than having to go into tabs and responding to reviews on each and every platform that you're set up on. You can also get reports generated for you, which is a really great way to have a look at what people are saying about your business online and to really benchmark your property against your competitors and even others in your region. So it's really important to gauge where you're sitting at against other people on ReviewPro. Now we'll head over to the next slide. If we have a look at some of the key features of ReviewPro, when you log in, the first thing that you do is you can look at any point in time in terms of your online reviews. So for this instance, I've set this up for just the last 12 months. Now, when you have a look at the Global Review Index, So that's that 93.1% for this business. This is their average of their reviews in that year. Now you can have a look, there's a little number underneath that says minus 3.1. So that's actually comparing it to the previous period. So it looks like this business has gone down by 3.1 in their consumer rating, which is nothing too concerning. Generally speaking, if you're looking at your GRI, 85% and above is really excellent, 80% is good, and anything underneath that you could do with a bit of improvement. But overall, this is a really excellent score. There's a really great feature where you can see set goal underneath that first circle, where you can simply set a goal for yourself as a business to have a time frame, and whether you want to get back up to 95% in the next 6 months or so, then you can set that goal and that will just record that for you as well. That second circle you have is the amount of reviews that you have. So you can see that little number underneath is -4. So this business has gone down by 4 reviews on the previous period. Again, nothing too much to be concerned about. The semantic analysis, one of my favorite features of ReviewPro, is where your reviews are actually taken, the wording is analyzed, and it breaks it up into positive and negative reviews. So if you're visual, the green is positive, and the little red section is that some of the negative wording that's been included in some of the reviews over the last 12 months. So you can see 97.6% positive is really good, and the business has actually improved by 2.6% over the year, which is really excellent. That last circle you can see is the management response. So this is how many reviews over the last 12 months that the business has actually responded to, and they've obviously implemented something this year because they have actually upped that score by 42.7%. So someone's been chipping away at all the reviews and responding to those. And again, you can set a goal for that, similar to the GRI. Now, underneath this, when you log in, you'll find a bit of an analysis of your GRI across time. So this is a really great way to have a look at your GRI and where it sits across the months of the year. It's really interesting to see, particularly if you have a really busy peak period within the year where your consumer rating lies. Perhaps if you've got a really busy event season and your reviews have significantly dropped, for instance, and that might be something to do with your staffing or the quality of what you're offering at that time. So it's really interesting to kind of pinpoint where you could be improving your business over time. Now, the next feature that we have is the semantic analysis as well. So we have a look at all the different categories that pop up. So these are automatically generated by ReviewPro. So you can have a look at your semantic analysis based on particular categories. So if anyone's mentioned something about your staff and it's all positive, you can see there it's all pretty green. But say, for example, you've hired someone in the last 2 weeks and you found a couple of different reviews that have been a bit negative, then that might be a way to indicate the training that you need to implement for that staff member, or perhaps there might be some things that they need to improve themselves in terms of the services that they're providing. So you can really have a look at some of those reviews and analyze what areas that you need to improve. This example is pretty positive, so nothing too much to report on. But you'll also find that some of the categories, again, moving back to how this was designed for hotels initially, there are some categories that may not necessarily line up with your business, but it's simply just been brought up because there's been a particular word that's come up in your review that somehow links to rooms, and it's come up in your category. So some things may not be particularly relevant. Now, the next section we have is your management response. So you can see here you've got your respondable reviews. If you go onto Google and you have some reviews that don't have any words to it, and it's just a star rating, then this means that it's a non-respondable review. So this counts up all the ones that actually have some content to it. Your management response, again, we've talked to this, but this is just how many reviews in total have been responded to. And this also analyzes how long it takes for you to reply to a review. So it's really important that you want to get this down to as minimal as possible. Another component of the SA Tourism Awards is that for your online review, when a judge has a look at your online presence, there's a part that says, they'll have a look at your reviews and when you respond to them. So make sure that a general rule of thumb, if you have any positive reviews, you should be responding to them within 7 days. If you have any negative ones, you should be responding to them within 4 days. But obviously, ideally, if you can do it quicker, then that's great. Okay. So if you're wondering how you actually get access to ReviewPro, this is a free benefit for all Quality Tourism Accredited TIC-SA members. So if you've gone through the Quality Tourism Accredited Business Framework and you've been accredited and you're a TIC-SA member, then you can actually log into the Quality Tourism Framework portal. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a ReviewPro section, and you can click the Verify button. And then if you pop over to the next slide, you can see that it comes up with this. So all you have to do is pop in one of your URLs. TripAdvisor is preferred. And then that will prompt ReviewPro to create an account for you. So that way it takes about 2 weeks, up to 2 weeks to create an account for you. So make sure as soon as you get out of this, create your account now. If you have access to the QTF portal for the Tourism Awards as a non-accredited member, then you still have access to ReviewPro, but once the awards program is over, then you will no longer have access to ReviewPro. But of course, if you are finding it really beneficial, then you can always sign up to be a TIC-SA member and keep your ReviewPro account. Now, if we have a look at the next slide, you can listen to me about talking about reviews all you want, but we also have some feedback from some of our valued members who have been utilizing ReviewPro in their day-to-day operations. So you can see Peter from Mawson Lakes Hotel has been using ReviewPro as one of the many great benefits that we have here at TIC-SA, and it's proven to show that it's been a really invaluable resource for them to really monitor what the guests are saying about the hotel from all the different platforms that they're set up on. And it's really, for Peter, he feels like it's the only way to really get an accurate insight into the public's perception of their guest services. So it's been a really good tool for them to use at Mawson Lakes Hotel. So where to from here? So if you are an accredited member, make sure you log into your free ReviewPro account if you already have one in place. If you can't remember your password, because it's been so long that you've logged in, and you can always just click on the button when you log in. There should be a button to say reset your password, so you can do that. If you're a non-accredited business, make sure you nominate your business before the closing off date for nominations for the Tourism Awards to access your free account. Again, that'll be for the duration of the awards process, and then afterwards the account will be deactivated. Again, ensure you have 25 reviews over the last 12 months to make sure that you can generate a GRI, and that will equate to your consumer rating component for your submission. And implement any suggested strategies from today to leverage your online review platforms. So going back to that slide of infographics, if there's any way that you can implement a way to ensure that you've got 25 reviews, make sure you're doing that. And it's not just for the awards process, but we obviously see how important reviews are for your business. So do make sure that you're trying to implement those to really leverage your online platforms and your presence and visibility when consumers are looking for your business. Now, in terms of support, we will be providing these slides for you. So once you download this slide, you can click on Learning and Support Center and Resource Library. These are two really excellent pieces of information from ReviewPro themselves, where you can access a whole bunch of collateral for you to work off from And if you have any questions about ReviewPro, then that's a really great place to start. Otherwise, you can contact myself. So you've got my contact details there on the screen. You can give me a call, send me an email, and I'm happy to set up a Zoom meeting with you for about 30 minutes where I can log into your account. You can actually have a look at what's on your dashboard, and I can just walk you through it because I can show you the screenshots on these slides here, but once you actually get stuck into it, I feel like it's a really great way to see how it actually all works within the website. So I'm happy to set up a time for you where we can go through that in much more detail than today as well. Now, if you need help with the Tourism Awards, so well done, you've made it to workshop number 1. Don't forget to book into the next 2 workshops. So we've got the How to Enter workshop, which is on Tuesday, the 14th of June. This will be in person at the LG House, which is on Frome Street here in Adelaide. Now, this will be about a 3-hour session where there'll be past judges talking to each section, each question of the Tourism Awards submission process. This is really valuable. For those of you who can't make it in person, this will be live streamed and recorded as well. The 3rd workshop will be a workshop on storytelling, just to really leverage your submission writing and how to tell the story of your business. We'll also look at the layout of how you should be laying out your submission. And it will also talk to the new feature this year where there's an image upload feature, which will make the process of uploading your images into the submission a lot more easier than previous years. Similar to last year as well, we've got the Ask the Experts session, so be sure to book these in as this was booked out quite quickly last year, where you can book in a time with an expert, a past judge in particular, for about 30 minutes, where you'll need to bring any questions and any work that you've done on your submission. And do make sure you bring work to these, otherwise your appointment will be forfeited. And of course, we've also got view and award-winning submissions. So we've got a date on Tuesday, the 28th of June and Tuesday, the 19th of July, where you can book in to view a submission from last year that won gold at the state level. And you have 30 minutes to read over that and take any notes. And then we've also got the draft submission process where you can actually put in your draft by the 13th of July. And a judge will take 2 weeks to look at your submission or the work that you've done at that stage and give you any feedback before you submit your final submission on the 10th of August. And of course, you've always got me to contact. So if you do need any help, you can always give me a call, send me an email. And our nominees kit is also live on the website. So again, if you go onto the website or if you get these slides and click on the nominees kit, then you'll be able to access all those resources for any further help. Okay, now, do we have any questions? We have a few in the chat. Okay, just grabbing the questions. Yes, so I've got a question about WikiCamp. So I'm not 100% sure if they're on the ReviewPro platform, but I don't believe they are. But I can send you a list of the 175 platforms that ReviewPro pulls from. So I can send that to you. Facebook is included in that list. However, since I've been here at TIXA, there's been a bit of an integration issue with Facebook. So I don't believe those reviews are pulling through. Similarly, this is not part of the question, but if any of the accommodation operators joining us today are on Airbnb, I know that's a huge platform for reviews, but unfortunately ReviewPro doesn't pull through Airbnb reviews. So for the sake of the Tourism Awards, your focus would definitely shift to other review platforms. Okay, does it assess how long it takes for you to respond to reviews? So as you would have seen on that management response page, it does kind of measure how long it takes for you to respond. So again, ideally, positive reviews you should be responding to within 1 week, and any negative ones within 4 weeks is ideal. 4 days is ideal, but obviously any quicker is really great. Okay, another question from Helen. We have several separate businesses on our site. So when people leave reviews, they quite often reference the other businesses or mistake us for the only one. So any negative reference review for these other GRI, these other businesses impacts our GRI. Can we get this taken into account? I guess with your ReviewPro, it is set up with a particular business in mind. So I'm not sure if we would able to at all take into account the different businesses across your model. So unfortunately, I don't think this is something that can be rectified in the back end of ReviewPro, but I can certainly look into it. But just from my knowledge, from the short time I've been here, I don't think that that's something that can really be taken into account. And then from Alison, does the review score need to come from ReviewPro, or can we be using another review platform such as TrustU? So it is definitely from ReviewPro. So if you log into your QTF portal, which is where you nominate for the Tourism Awards, ReviewPro is linked to that. So it's not a review, like a TrustU review platform that pulls through. It's all to do with ATIC's relationship with ReviewPro. So you can't actually submit your own average of reviews. It must come from ReviewPro. And that's all the questions that I've got. If anyone has any more, feel free to flick them through right now. Otherwise, we do have another one. Recently, I'm not receiving ReviewPro emails after having received TripAdvisor and Google reviews. So we can certainly look into that, Bronwyn. It might be just a matter of perhaps your alerts set up in the system. So for those of you who aren't aware of the alert function on ReviewPro, you can actually set up alerts to ensure that you're getting all your reviews coming through in your emails. That way, rather than checking every day if you've got any reviews, you're actually notified through ReviewPro. So yes, Bronwyn, it is a setting. So just log into ReviewPro and it's in your settings within alerts and reports. If you are having trouble finding that, then please let me know and we can chat that one out. Awesome. I think that's all the questions for today. So hopefully that kind of clears up the consumer rating side of the Tourism Awards for this year. I think really crucial takeaway is to ensure that you've got your ReviewPro account set up, get that set up as soon as you can, again, through the QTF portal, and just make sure that you've closed 25 because that is when the qualifying period ends. So you do have a bit of time to implement those strategies in ways to increase your reviews and make sure that you've got enough to go towards your consumer rating. So that's all of the questions for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully we'll see you at the next workshop in a couple of weeks' time. And if there's any other way that I can support you through this process, then please contact me and we'll see you at the next workshop. Thanks, everyone.